this is going to be a good one.
Welcome back to the Spooky Pilots Codcast.
The Spooky Pilots Codcast.
Yeah, we're branching out into fish and chips.
I actually had some really nice fish and chips on holiday a couple of weeks ago. We've done one since then, haven't we? We did
The last one.
Goosebumps and Ting.
Yes.
And one of the shows we're doing today is actually going to be in keeping with spooky children's TV shows. But before we get to that, we got to chat about Hemlock Grove, haven't we?
Yeah, I suppose we do.
Okay, I think I tried watching Hemlock Grove a little while ago because when I clicked on it on Netflix earlier today, it said I got 6 minutes in, and then I just decided
That's not a good start, is it?
Well, I mean, I'm glad I persevered this evening. I have no idea what's going on in this show, but it was nice to look at.
Yeah, no, it's weird because nothing really gets explained apart from like the murder right at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a murder, and it's appeared that this girl is eaten by something.
I'm assuming from the logo of the show. I mean, I really like the logo because the O in Hemlock is an Ouroboros. And I really like those.
Yeah, that keeps coming back actually, and even in this episode,
yeah, they had
is a snake
like an actual clip of a snake eating its tail, which was. I was kind of like when I first started watching, I was kind of watching it in the background. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm just going to pause this and just give it some actual full attention. Because I thought it might be one of those some shows you can just get away with kind of trying to keep up with while you're doing something else.
Yeah.
This was not that show.
I heard like a name like an Upir thrown around, and I know somewhere back in the recesses of my mind, in all the research I did on monsters and shit, an Upir is something monsterish, but I can't remember which character is supposed to be. I think it's Roman, isn't it? No? Yes.
Yeah.
Roman.
And I think there's hints that like his mother's some sort of demony nasty thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what. I feel like maybe like succubus or something like that.
Or
like a siren or...
That's the thing, it's all sort of... It's alluded to that there are all these mythical beasts and monsters and things around, but nothing's confirmed in the first episode.
There's a wild accusation thrown at the end.
Oh, what?
Where Roman calls Gypsy Boy...
Peter.
Werewolf. Peter, Gypsy Boy.
No, he just says, what was it like killing her? He doesn't mention werewolf.
Oh.
It's the girl who's like, she goes, I'm a novelist. She goes and meets Peter at his new home.
And she's like, you're a werewolf.
That was,
it's like,
I thought a little out of
his
the blue.
fingers are the same. Yeah. But then I suppose they have to introduce the idea somewhere.
Yeah, it was just quite a heavy-handed way of doing it, I thought. I mean, you know me, I love a good werewolf.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I just assumed that he'd turned up as like a demon hunter sort of thing. Like, rather than anything else, I was like, oh, cool. They are here to hunt demons. And I think that's kind of maybe the implication that there is.
Yeah.
That at least the mother is there to hunt demons. Or she's the same sort of demon as Roman's mum. Because they have the same little weird, like, eyedropper things.
Which I thought... Because I spent quite a lot of time... Go on.
I thought at first they were, like, demon-killing bullety things. And I was like, why would you make those out of glass?
I thought that they were stink bombs. Because when I was a kid, we used to buy boxes of stink bombs, and you'd get 3 little vials exactly shaped like that. And then we'd go into the McDonald's toilets, and then you just stamp on them, and it crushes the I don't think it's glass, I think it's just like plastic that shatters, and then this liquid just runs out, and it fucking stinks. So I immediately was like, oh, stink bomb.
Yeah, it was more the shape that made me think bullets, because they're like tapered
bullets
at one side. Yeah. And then I saw her using them as eye drops, and I was like, they're not bullets, are they?
So I got the feeling this was based on a book or something. It feels like
I think it is based on a book.
Trying to look here, see if it says anything. Series based on a novel of the same name. I mean, the book art has very much a werewolfy hand as the front cover.
Oh. They think Roman's a vampire. It's like a Russian vampire folklore.
Yeah, I mean, he does appear fairly vampiric, like the fact that he doesn't want to get up.
And he's a bit like the scene in the car, which is really the scene where I found out maybe this show's for grown-ups, because I was like, hey, boobs.
I completely forgot about that right at the start.
Yeah, and he like cuts his thumb,
Yes.
and he's just like,
Yeah, and marks the girl with it, doesn't he? But equally, like, you could look at, he has the sort of the lavish, luxurious lifestyle, and traditionally, you know, you get vampires have, you know, represented the aristocracy, as you know, in Dracula, or even like Interview with the Vampire. They literally are the French aristocracy in that. So, you know, vampires typically.
if you live a long time, you're gonna have a bit of cash.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally they're sort of portrayed as, you know, wealthy people, like, and with, in the case of Dracula, literally sucking the blood of the peasants.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what happens if Roman is, and what he does when he finds out.
What if he is a vampire?
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a little. This is just me with my sort of critical eye head on. The fact that we see the Ouroboros, like, you know, the snake eating his own tail, we see that a couple of times in the show. I think there's going to be a relationship between the character of Roman and Norman, because this might sound quite weird, but because the names are like anagrams of each other, I feel like it's almost like a refocusing of, you know, the lens almost is them. The fact that the same letters appear in their name, I feel like there's going to be a relationship there that's not quite, you know, as it seems. But that's complete guesswork. Could be completely wrong. But I just don't think you name characters in a book or a TV show with such similar letters without there being a reason for it. But that could be bollocks.
yeah. It could just be the classic vampires versus werewolves.
Fine by me. I mean, I like Underworld. So
Yeah. I haven't watched Underworld in ages.
I seem to remember I preferred the second one, because the first one's actually quite dull. Like, nothing really happens.
I really liked Rise of the Lycans.
Oh, I like that one. Michael Sheen in his leather pants.
Yeah, it's a really, like, looking back, it's like a really sort of weird franchise, but I
got a lot of fondness for that, because that was like my sort of.
I think I watched it after I watched all of the Blade films and was like, I want something like this.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, Underworld.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've been craving watching Blade and Blade 2 for ages. Actually,
why not Blade 3?
no, I'm thinking so. Because I don't really remember Blade 3. I know they go up against.
It's got Ryan Reynolds in it.
And they.
I
fight
feel like we've
Dracula.
talked about this very recently.
Have we?
I've talked about it to someone.
It might not have been me. It's Blade Trinity, isn't it? Because they fight Dracula.
Yeah. And that's Prison Breaky Boy. Yeah, it wasn't you, because I got really annoyed that I can't remember his fucking name.
Fucking hell, Triple H is in it. I don't remember that.
He's like a goon. One of Dracula's goons, I think.
I need to watch the Blade films again.
I've only seen Blade Trinity once, to be fair.
The last time I watched Blade was when we were at Deck's house and we had that barbecue.
Oh yeah.
That was years ago, but yeah, that was the last time I watched Blade. That's a cracking film.
That is pretty. Yeah, for an R-rated comic book film, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. As if you need Deadpool to prove you can do it.
Well, I get that's off topic massively.
Go on.
Well, no,
Why
I was
not?
just like that. I guess when they did Blade, it wasn't marketed as a comic book film. they just went, hey, look, vampires.
Yeah.
But then when they did Deadpool, they were like, hey, look, this is a comic book film, like all those other Marvel films that you see, but angrier.
And blood and shit.
Yeah. But
yeah, I overall, we should really say this. It does. The reason it's called Hemlock Grove is because that's the town, but also it's the name of the school. So it then follows Peter, the wolfy, trampy looking motherfucker, and Roman, who's the vampiric, clean, posh dude.
And his sister, who confuses me.
His sister is called Shelley, and she is like a Frankenstein monster. It's quite obvious. Yeah, no, she's odd, but I have a weird. I like her. I don't really know why.
I think that maybe her character is there to just be like disconcerting.
Yeah, just be like, this is fucking weird.
It's like when she walks past Peter for the first time, it's just like that, like faint glow that she had, and I was like, I don't understand. And I was starting to think, I was like, oh, is it just a case of like he can see people for what they truly are, but she's really just like a normal looking girl? And then it was like, no, that's not. Everyone sees that.
Yeah. And then you get that confusing bit about how, like, you see JR, who is Shelley's dad, and Norman, and they're having an argument in what looks to be like a hospital-y sort of building.
Yeah, it looks like sort of like a medical research place. So I'm assuming that maybe Shelley's an experiment of some description?
Yeah, perhaps.
And maybe they're doing research into like the occult. I get occult monsters.
Maybe Shelley is the result of an oupir and a werewolf having a kid together.
Maybe.
Possibly. Because it's not, we just mentioned Underworld, and, the fact that vampire and lichen, vampire and werewolf, when put together, create a hybrid. I mean, in Underworld it turns him into a fucking badass, but in this turns her into, she gets one big eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what generally, like, what are your feelings about this?
I'm interested, but then there's a little part of me that worries that it could just stray down the sort of like it almost like an easy path of just like episode 2 they go, well, this guy's a werewolf, this guy's a vampire, and they fight for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that would be just a really long experience.
I mean, they don't so much as name check Twilight, but they do invoke Twilight. Like, she says, what is it, Peter's talking to the girl who comes to ask her, because she's writing a novel, Christina, that's it. And he even says, like, oh, so you think of a werewolf, okay, should we find a vampire and have an awkward 3-way relationship that is...
Oh, like an awkward love triangle.
That's it, a sexless 3-way relationship for 7 books or whatever it is. 4 books. 3 books. How many books in Twilight are there? There's 4, isn't there?
4.
Yeah.
5 films.
That's the one. Yeah. I feel like what's odd is that I was having... we did the episode on Riverdale.
Yeah.
It feels like it takes the high school stuff from Riverdale, but the stuff outside of the school is Twilight. Which
that doesn't sound like a good combination.
Well, no, because I'm
Riverdale's great.
I'm really fond of Twilight, and really fond of Riverdale, and Twilight's got its moments. Like, I don't hate Twilight.
I mean, for Twilight, there's just 2.5 books and 3 films that you could do without.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, in fairness, I've not seen Twilight for coming up for 10 years now. But I remember thinking, actually, this is quite good. But I think that might have been because I was young enough to be like, oh, this is so meaningful.
Well, no, I mean, the first film's interesting because you get to, like, it opens up into this world and you're like, this world's pretty weird.
Mm.
But then you get 2 films of just like, oh, Bella, fucking pick someone.
And she literally sits in a chair for a year.
Yeah, and then you get to, like, the Breaking Dawn, and then, I mean, Breaking Dawn Part 1, the film is kind of just like, hey, look, they banged, she's pregnant, which you can do in, like, a couple of scenes. Just go, they banged, she's pregnant, she's having a baby that's sort of killed her. And then, yeah, like, Part 2 is fine, because it's just mostly a big fight.
I've not seen the very last one. I think but that was it, because we were at uni, and everyone was being really, really sniffy about Twilight, and I didn't really weigh in on the conversation because I'd not seen them. So I thought, well, do you know what? If I'm going to have an opinion in this argument, I'm going to have to watch them. So I think I took literally like a couple of days, and I just sat down in my room in 5 Newcombe Road, and I just watched them all. And at that point, the last one wasn't out.
That's the opinion that I had on Twilight. I was like, I can't just slag it off.
Yeah.
If I have no idea what's wrong with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found myself, like, the first one I was like, this is actually not shit.
First
like,
one's okay.
I've read the books. The books are written terribly.
I've read the book. Have I? Yeah, no, I have read the books. I don't really remember reading the books.
Now, the thing is, like, there are books that I like that I read a lot. Like, I've read Lord of the Rings a few times.
Shocker.
Harry Potter. I have no idea how many times I've read all of Harry Potter, but it's enough.
I was having this conversation the other day. I think, conservatively, I've read each one between 10 and 20 times, I think. But maybe I think I've read the last one probably the least.
Yeah. I've minimum read book 1 7 times.
Yeah.
Because every time a new one came out, I reread them. And pretty much every time I've read the last one, it's meant I've read all of them. And I think I've read the last one like 5 or 6 times. So
here's an interesting point. Would you count listening to the audiobook as having a read of it? Having a read through? Because I guess technically
I would. Otherwise, I can't say I've read much of Game of Thrones.
that's true. But no, I've listened to I've got all the audiobooks, and when I was working at the hotel doing the gardening there, I remember going through a phase where, like, the whole summer I listened to Harry Potter, and so I literally went through all of them in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I know. I've actually only got an hour and 19 minutes left of book 3 of Game of Thrones.
Hey, which one's book 3? Storm of Swords.
Yeah.
Part 1. Because aren't there 2 Storm of Swords books?
Possibly, but this one's covered. I've been through, like, the Red Wedding, the Purple Wedding. Yeah, that's it. That's the only 2 things that really happen.
Okay.
But it's like 48 hours a book. Those are the 2, like, notable things from, well, season 3 and 4 of Game of Thrones.
Jesus Christ. They're dense, aren't they, those books?
Yeah. Like, the thing is, the books I found, weirdly, because they're such big books, and you know that it's not the whole story, and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
God, I can't. Because the copy I've got of book 2 is longer than, like, the 3 Lord of the Ring books that I read in, like, a single book. And I was like, how?
Jesus.
How is this?
Well, I remember, like... I seem to remember it didn't take me that long to read the first book. I have only read a Game of Thrones out of all of them, but that was on Kindle, so I think that helps, just literally flicking through pages and not seeing how far you've come or how much you've got left. That I do find helps.
Yeah,
we have. Go on.
We have, but, like,
That's
I'm
fine.
just, like, looking at Audible now, and book 3 of, like, A Storm of Swords is, I think, 48 hours long.
Jesus.
And Fellowship and Two Towers are 19 and 16 apiece. So that's only 35 hours. So there's like a whole 13 hours. Depending on how long Return of the King is, I could fit that in as well.
Bloody hell.
But yes, Hemlock Grove. I wonder if there's an audiobook for Hemlock Grove.
Oh, if there is, I might actually. I might even get the book, to be fair, because I'm trying to read more. It's not really working that well at the minute. I've read one book this year.
That is a book.
Yeah, I know, but I just my reading habits have like really dropped, and I want to bring it back up, but it's just I don't know. I don't think I found the right books. I remember when I was a kid, I used to just devour books, but like get properly invested, and I want that to happen again, but I just haven't found anything to get me like that excited to read.
Yeah, I find it hard to find things to read when most of the stuff I want to
Consume
is
TV,
generally
or games.
Well, yeah, or at least generally there is something made from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hemlock Grove is not on Audible, so.
Oh, okay. I wonder how long the book is then to make an entire 3 series out of it.
Unless it's they take the 3 seasons and add in some extra bits.
Yeah. I really liked it. I did really like Hemlock Grove, in fairness. I think I might carry on with it. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do it, but you know.
I'm curious enough that I will probably watch once I've in a couple of shows' time. I think I'll watch some more of it because I still need to finish Bates Motel.
Oh, of course, yeah. So how far through? Let's do the Gilmore Girls insert. How far through it have you got?
I am on the 2nd episode of season 4.
And how many series are there? 6, is it?
5.
5.
5's out. Yeah, and he's killed a few. And was also accused of killing someone that he didn't actually kill. Like someone else.
Well, that's just not fair, is it?
I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to think. No, his mum still only killed one person. He's nearly killed like a fuck ton of people. Yeah, no, it's weird. And the more like there's been a couple episodes where he's like dressed in his mother's dressing gown, and it's just like, oh, I just remembered the last episode I watched. He literally killed someone in his mum's dressing gown.
That's the start of it.
Yeah, no, it's weird. No, it's interesting. It's weirdly enjoyable to watch because you just don't know, like, because he sort of seems to just snap. Like he has, like, basically triggers of just like people treating women badly. Seems to be his main trigger.
Oh, he's a social justice warrior.
Mixed with like a psychopath with a massive Oedipus complex. But yeah, no, it's getting good. Because I think I must be starting to approach the point where Mother dies.
Well, yeah, she's
fine,
she's dead
he will forever
in the film.
He will forever carry a version of Mother with him. Because in his head what's happening is he thinks his mother is killing the people that he's killed.
Right.
And I think you only see it once where he watches his mother kill someone, but you know that she's not there. Because it keeps cutting between Norman and Norma. And it was really nicely shot because I was like, because if you just walked in, you'd be like, why is this dude's mum killing someone? But then if you'd been watching it, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's definitely him doing that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do need to like watch that. I think because I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things more recently that I just sort of. We did the podcast and then I was like, oh, cool, click, and just started watching it because I think it's when like you were ill and I was like, well, I don't need to watch anything for the podcast, so
yeah,
just
crack on with it.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, it's very good. Much like Channel Zero.
I just...
This fucking show.
I think this and last series we had Westworld. These two are, well, this is probably the best pilot we've watched this year, I think.
I mean, I'd have to agree, because I bought the first episode on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then I finished watching the first episode, and then I bought the rest of the series.
Do you know what? If I had a little bit more money at the minute, because it's not quite payday yet, I would absolutely be doing the same thing. Because
yeah, and I'm like literally
hell.
just gonna. I'm ready to just power through Bates Motel so I can watch the rest of this show.
Well, I think there's only 6 episodes for the first series. I read somewhere it's a 6-episode.
Yeah, it's like 6 episodes, and then it moves on to like the next thing.
Yeah, so basically, Channel Zero, it's in the style of American Horror Story. It's an anthology series, so each series goes through a different theme, but they are based on creepypastas, which are like almost like myths that have been born into
like,
the internet, aren't they?
Yeah, they're sort of like internet stories that how like folk tales would get passed from person to person, and like I guess twisted a little bit.
Yeah.
But then
I guess
these are twisted through
people like posting on boards and stuff, and I think the most famous one would be Slender Man.
Yeah, so I think the ideas normally come about, and then it slowly builds into like something with an actual like mythos and like a backstory to it.
Yeah. So oh my god! Right. So basically, so Channel Zero then the pilot episode is based around the creepypasta known as Candle Cove, which it was a story which was based on this fictional. There's a TV show that was only remembered by a small group of people, and what the show does is I can't if I start talking about it, I'm just gonna gush, but basically there's
Gush away.
there's a psychologist who he's being interviewed on a talk show, and it soon becomes apparent this is a nightmare that he's having, but it reminds him that there was this TV show called Candle Cove, and this show has something to do with the murders of 5 children in his hometown, one of whom is his twin brother, his identical twin brother. So he then goes back to his hometown.
To his mum, Petunia.
Yeah, Aunt Petunia shows up. I was like, hello.
The thing is, I struggled so much because I was like, I recognise you. I think you're in Harry Potter. I'm going to have to look it up because you look a bit older.
I suppose in fairness,
you did.
She's not been in Harry Potter for what, 5 years, 6 years? When did the last Harry Potter come out?
2012.
No, is it really?
2011. It might be. No, because it came out before I was at uni, so 2010.
Hang on, I'm just googling Deathly Hallows.
Or 2009.
Well, part 1 came out in 2010.
Then part 2 must have been 2011.
Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out in 2011. 2011! 7 years ago that came out.
I don't think Petunia was in the 7th one.
No, she's not. I think they filmed them at the same time though, didn't they? So
yeah,
basically.
But then my really vivid memories of Petunia are from like the first and second Harry Potter films.
Yeah.
So she looks about 15 years older.
Oh, fucking hell. So yeah, there's he then remembers this TV show, and the show goes into like flashback over times when his brother's getting bullied by this one particular kid, and and there's a lot of weird shit that happens when they're kids. And the thing that popped into my head while I was watching it is like nightmares in flashes. So the really scary stuff in this show literally flashes up for a second or less than a second and then is gone again.
I found like it seemed very like Black Mirror-y when they're all like sat around the table talking about it. It felt very Black Mirror, where they sort of like, there's always one person who's sort of like, oh yeah, no, TV's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's almost as if like the rest of the show will then prove that you shouldn't watch TV.
No, it did make me think of Black Mirror, actually. You said
I think, yeah, if the episode had just been like, this one episode was like this TV show, and then even if each one did a different TV show, that would feel more Black Mirror if they changed the characters. It's like a Black Mirror full series on one topic. Yeah,
that's actually a perfect way of describing it. But yeah, so then the trouble is that he's having dinner with an old childhood friend, and then the daughter of that friend then says, "Oh, I've been watching Candle Cove," and of course she's not meant to have any idea that it's ever existed. So
yeah, because they were saying that it aired for like 2 months,
and then was just gone
when those 5 kids disappeared.
And every time, well, not every time, but a lot of the times that the 5 the child murders are mentioned, it does a real hard, quick cut to this tree that just has the bodies of these kids just like either, flopped over the branches or hung from a branch. And that was really disturbing.
I think things like this are always a bit more disturbing when they're not like, there's something attacking kids, not adults.
Yeah, but even more so when I think you've got the survivors looking back and remembering the flashes of them. So like right at the end of the episode, where there's his mum is explaining how actually this TV show.
Oh yeah, no, because he brings it up to his mum and he's like, "Oh, do you remember that TV show we used to watch, Candle Cove?" And she kind of laughs like, "Oh yeah, who made it up?" And he was like,
"What?"
The creators of the show made it up. And she was like, "Oh no, because you just used to sit and watch the static."
And then you come away with stories of Candle Cove.
At that point, I was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. Oh my god, it's a perfect TV show for me.
And like genuinely, like this pilot does it so well, because they have a show that they're clearly watching, and then at the end it just goes, "But that's not real," and it's just like,
oh
I
god,
don't understand. Please.
That's such a good little twist, isn't it? But the thing is, it's so really unnerving and unsettling. Like in the way that the good creepypastas are, the fact that he's walking through the woods, and the thing that he is fucking terrified of is clearly a guy in a fucking rubber suit, and it should be so stupid. But when he's remembering being back in that bedroom and he can see Jawbone, that's a fucking incredible name for a monster, a nightmare monster, fucking Jawbone, and he's just stood there. Oh my god!
The whole time that he's walking up to because he takes a knife out with him.
Yeah. Why not? His
mum threw away the gun. America's weird, man. I don't know whether they like guns or not. But he's walking through like these woods with a knife. And the whole time I was expecting him to sort of like walk up and just sort of push it over.
Yeah, or like it not really
but
be
when
there.
Like he gets like pretty close, and I'm just like, it's just a hallucination, or it's going to push it over. And then like it just, that snap grab of his arm, and I was just like, oh god, it's real.
I mean, I sort of half predicted that like it was going to go one or two ways. Either, like you say, he was going to touch it and it would fall over or not be there, blah blah blah, or it would grab him. So I was ready for either event.
It's weird because every time up until that point they showed it, it'd always been a dream.
Yeah.
So my head just went, well, the next time he sees it, it'll probably be a dream. because I think they'd only at that point shown it twice. Well, no, they'd only shown it. This was the second time it was appearing, and normally there's like that rule of 3 where it's like the first 2 times it's innocent, and the third time it's trying to kill you. Or that might just be a thing that I've made up.
No, I don't know. I think you're right. Like 3 and 5 come into play a lot when you're talking about narrative and things. You know, with a 3-act play or a 5-act play, or it's like even Jimmy Carr says. You know, with a joke, it's the rule of 3. You introduce something in the first repetition. In the second repetition, you normalise it. The third, you subvert it. So yeah, I think you make a really good point saying that.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, I like things that play with that, because that's, I think, the first time in a long time of watching like thriller, like scary things that I've just actually gone, oh.
Well, you genuinely felt a little, ooh, a little chill.
Yeah, like a little jump scare, because I was like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen.
It's not often a jump, because Lisa and I and my friend Sam and Hannah, we watch a lot of horror films, so getting a decent jump scare is a bit of a challenge for all of us. Not so much Lisa, because Lisa will jump at anything, but no, it was nice. I felt genuinely unsettled at points. Like even when he's in the interview right at the start, and there's a flash of that fucking on fire tree just walking down a hallway that's completely unexplained. But no, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to carry on watching this. But what did you think of the fucking dude made of teeth?
Yeah, no, that was unsettling. I feel for me, I didn't need to see that.
No, but it was a
Not
cool
because,
fucking
like,
monster.
Yeah, no, it's a cool monster that doesn't. It also doesn't explain anything, because
No.
if it had turned up and it had been like, I don't know, some sort of weird little goblin thing just collecting teeth in a bag, you'd be like, well, he clearly needs the teeth for something. But when the thing's made out of them, you're like, he's just greedy. He's already covered in teeth. Why does he need more? But what I like is it never says if, like, she takes the teeth, like the creature takes the teeth, or the little girl pulls her teeth out to give to the monster.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably more sinister, if it can convince someone to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's already convinced her to walk through the woods to the top of this cliff.
Yeah, which is that's another one of the more unsettling and unnerving little clips you see, is when he's talking right at the end to his mom, and it flashes back to him standing on that cliff and just seeing that kid stand completely still and just topple over that cliff, like almost willingly, just like, yep, this is it. Woo! Oh my god.
Yeah, and like the fact that he carved Mike come home into his arm.
Oh god, I'd forgotten that. I'd actually forgotten that.
You watched this like an hour ago.
I know, but my mind was taken up with so
like
many brilliant things that I completely
it's like it's 40 minutes of just, oh, here's a thing, this might be important, but maybe not. I feel like maybe that carving into his arm might be.
Probably.
But then he had a nightmare saying why you, like, with, I'm assuming his brother's voice saying, why are you scared to come home?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that maybe the nightmare and the carving in the arm are related.
Oh
but
my god. But fuck
like
me.
no, it was just that little bit at the like the last sort of couple of scenes where he's asking his mum and she just goes, it was just static, and it's just like I don't understand, because everyone, like, it wasn't like he sort of mentioned the show and they were all just like, yeah, no, that was a really funny thing that you and your brother made up to entertain us. They were just like, oh yeah, no, like, they stopped airing it after all the murders, and it was like,
yeah, that's the first thing jumped into my head is, well, it's got to be a generational thing.
Group psychosis?
Well, maybe. But I was like, it's got to be a generational thing, because everyone around that dinner table was like, oh yeah, that was a fucking odd show, wasn't it? And like you say, she was just like, oh, you know, haha, you made it up. Like, fucking what?
Yeah, it just, like, it's weird. Like, I'm getting goosebumps now, just being like, yeah, but, like, how? I need to understand.
But
And then at the end, when like his phone rings and it's like his brother's voice again,
Yeah.
just saying like, "Where are you going? We're just getting started." And it's just like, huh?
I was just like, yeah, too fucking right we are. I'm gonna carry on watching this. Jesus.
Credits start to roll. I'm like alt tabbing, like I need to buy this fucking series.
How much is the whole thing? Because I am gonna buy it. Cause
I think it was like £12 or something.
Oh, I don't think this is how bad it's got. I'm not even sure if I've got the 12 quid to cover that. I think about it. No, I do, but
I might buy it on Blu-ray.
it's
I feel
worth it. It's definitely worth a physical copy, I think. But
Oh wait, I didn't actually buy it.
Holy shit! Complete season 1, £4.50.
Oh.
Right, well, I'm just clicking on that right now. Purchasing season 1. Fucking marvellous. Oh my god. Do you know what? I've not been this excited about a TV show since...
I bought it in HD by accident. I paid £7. I can't believe it's so cheap.
I know, but I guess it's only 6 episodes.
And also, yeah, it's only a couple years old as well.
Mm.
I thought...
It's still going. They're doing a new series at the end of this year, like October this year, I think it was saying.
Is that going to be season 2?
No, season 4 that's going to be.
Oh, okay.
So they did Candle Cove was the first one, then it's No End House, which was 2017, then Butcher's Block, February 2018, and The Dream Door, which is October 2018. Jesus Christ, we found some good shit doing this podcast. Like,
I know.
Like if I just think about like what it is we've watched, right? I would never have seen Review. I would never have seen this.
You'd never have seen Gilmore Girls.
I would have never seen Gilmore Girls, and that's become probably one of the most significant shows of my entire life. Fucking hell, you've really done well in finding shows for this, because it is 90% you. I just show up and chat, and I think I've edited
literally
2.
just googled horror shows, and like Channel Zero came out of it, and I was just like, it was just there, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
I'm excited. Like I'm physically like getting worked up because I love this so much. It's oh my god, it was perfect. I just fucking loved it. I think we've answered the question of whether we're gonna carry on watching it because we've both just bought it.
Jack, that's only the second time that we've both just live bought something.
What was the other one then?
Black Flag.
Black
Black Sails.
Black Sails. I didn't buy that one. You bought that one.
Yeah. Okay, then I think that's the first time that we've both just gone, this show is so good, just going to buy it right now.
Although I did buy Dracula like on the spot, pretty much. Oh fuck! What was I going to say to you? I've completely forgotten what it was I was going to say. Oh yeah, Black Sails. Is that still in the cellophane, or have you watched it now?
It's not in the cellophane. I opened it and then discovered that I couldn't watch it because I wasn't connected to the internet. So
I do want to carry on with Vikings at some point. That is way back on my list, but because I finished God of War, I got into like a really.
Oh yeah, no, that will really make you be like, hey, I just want to just show me some Vikings, please. I want to rewatch Spooks as well.
Anyway, instead of rewatching stuff, we should watch some new stuff. So, unless you have anything more to add on Channel Zero.
No, apart from I will continue just to give you updates on how much of it I've watched.
Yeah, and I will do the same.
Like after talking to you, I'm really tempted just to bin off Bates Motel for a bit and just watch this.
Oh no, finish it because it gives me a chance to get ahead with Channel Zero, and I can be ahead of something for once.
Okay, I'll just pretend to not have watched it.
Cool. Yeah, if this isn't in my top 5, then we're coming up for some really strong stuff.
The thing is, like, I don't know how much. I don't know. There's still some good stuff coming. Because next time on the Co-Pilot podcast, or the I don't know, whatever I said at the start, we've got Slasher, which I don't know.
I don't
supernatural
know.
Shit, I guess.
I don't know what it's going to be about, but I really like slasher movies, so that's fine.
Presumably. And also, Because this new show's just come out, they haven't done very many episodes yet, but it's Supernatural.
Carry your mind wayward love. Zara was trying to get me to watch this for ages, like the whole time we were at uni. And actually, I've just remembered, we lost a fucking quiz point. Because we were at a quiz, all of us, at some point, and it was a music round, and that song came on, and the question was either like, what TV show is this from, or what is this song? And none of us knew it, but Zara was like, she'd gone to the toilet or something, and she came back, and then like we were marking it, and he goes, right, that was Carry On Away Summer by blah blah, whoever it's by, and she goes, I'd have fucking known that, it's the theme tune to Supernatural, and we were like, where the hell were you? So I'm still holding on to that 5 years later.
Yeah, and it's got Dean in it though, so it's...
Yes, well, it's not Jess, is it? We should have done Supernatural on the same week as Heroes, because then it could have been Dean versus Jess.
It's also got, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan turns up at some point.
Was he?
Yeah.
Sorry. I've run out of beer and my throat needs lubrication.
Well, that seems like a good place to end this spooky episode.
I urge you, if anybody is listening to this, I urge you to watch Channel Zero, because fucking hell. Oh, what a show. Perfect.
Yeah,
that was
I think
absolute perfect. That was.
It's going to be one of those shows that I think, even though I've just bought it online, I might still order the Blu-rays just so that I can be like,
hey, look what I got.
Hey, friend, you like TV shows? This is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. You should watch this.
Yeah. Thing is, you need friends to give it to, and you have none of those either.
That's true. I was about to say I had you, but you're just here to do like enable my podcast.
I'm not a friend. I'm a co-host.
There was once upon a time they would have been one and the same, but no longer.
Nope. Sorry. Got a really tickly throat. Right, let's end this. Yeah, we'll be back with bi-weekly Channel Zero updates. Right.
Don't forget, if you see your kids watching The Static, make sure they don't walk off a cliff or something.
Oh, look here, Jawbone. There's a new friend in this cave.
Oh, God. Joe? Joe?